Hey guys, back out here. Finally got back from all the camping and some issues. New roof finally being put on now, um, and the awning was partially damaged, you could say. One of the arms completely needs replacing. Um, Yeah, and that would pretty much do it. That and I think part of the shade roller piece. I'll include some pictures here, but yeah, it's the old fifth wheeler. It's taken a few hits lately. These last few trips. That's okay though. It's getting repaired. We were done for the season. We're not in a big rush to get it back. We feel like we found a pretty decent place, not too far. Well, it's about 45 minutes away. That's fine. At least they got it in. I've heard of still waiting times. Leave a comment at some RV shops. I mean, just ridiculous. 30 days or more, which, 30 days, I could see if it was, I think, a roof is definitely a major repair. If you're waiting 30 days or more, we're at about, I think, 2 weeks now, two to 3 weeks. So, and they told us it'd be a little while. Anyhow, that's pretty much it. The rammer's doing good. Need to still get it in for that fuel pump I've talked about, I think, since the beginning of this channel. Unbelievable. Partly my fault. I need to call back down there again and see what's going on. I think I did receive another notice on it for finally the fuel pump, so it made me think maybe they're starting to get back in. So now that we're back and spring, summer, everybody knows we usually just kind of take it easy, take care of healthcare, take care of the vehicles. Southwest here, it's just too hot. Even with the AC, the AC definitely. I mean, you can do it with the AC, but we kind of, we're outdoor people, and you can't do a ton of that when it's 110 outside, and it's still pretty warm in the evening. Anyhow, more power to you. If I know there's a lot of different situations, a lot of different climates that people camp in. I'd love to hear about it. Send comments below. Anyhow, so yeah, we're dealing with a few mechanical things with the RV, and beyond that, I think our next trip probably will be later in the fall. We're actually going to take another cruise this year back to Alaska, and I know this channel is not about cruising and everything else. It's about camping and RVing and pulling it with a full-size truck, or maybe you're pulling with something else. That'd be interesting too. But anyhow, yeah, well, that's going back out there, taking our in-laws. They're getting up there, and we wanted to take them on one, I don't want to say one last trip, but another trip where they're still kind of able to. They'd been to Alaska years before, and they constantly talked about it was kind of like on a bucket list, something you do together. So yeah, that's through Holland America, and they're pretty good. We recommend them. They're not too expensive and pretty good amenities. The rooms are pretty good. Food's pretty good. You can order room service every day. It's included. That's what we love. Sometimes we just do that. Honestly, we're there to get a lot of rest in addition to seeing the sights. I think we got 3 excursions planned, so that'll be nice. Beyond that, just staying busy around here with the dogs. I think you saw the opening shot, and there it is right there. And I think Oliver's hiding over there with his toy. And there goes Daisy right there. Looks like trying to play with Thor. Thor's looking for lizards. Grass is pretty green right now. That's because of the rain. And there'd be no way I could keep that green and pay that much for the water. So there'll be certain areas that will you know, brown up in this yard. Some kind of towards the back where it gets more shade, it stays pretty green. Anyhow, yeah, so I think our next trip will probably be either up north somewhere, maybe up in the mountains, the Sierra Nevadas, possibly up towards Oregon, might be an option as well. So we're not sure. I mean, we could just go local again, and the older we get and the less we have the funds to spend it on hundreds if not thousands of dollars of gas, local is not bad. And we have a decent, thankfully a decent RV park not too far away, that you've seen some of the pictures for, and that we actually camped at last time, or they saw the pictures where we're camping at last time out. That's where we had the outdoor fire by the dogs and did some cooking out there, and I'm going to try and do more of that once I get back out there again. Leave a comment. I think I've said it 3 times. Leave a comment, but what you guys want to see more of. I think people seem to really like the just around the campsite stuff, you know, whether it be, you know, just sitting by the fire or cooking, or I think I want to do one for setting up next time. Just, you know, maybe it'll help someone. Maybe someone will have some tips for me. We seem to take about, my wife and I have timed it, and it's about, I think, an hour and a half to set up, and roughly about, probably a little longer to tear it all down when we're leaving. She does the inside, and she's usually finished before me. She'll come out and help with a few of the outside things, like taking the satellite off the roof and whatnot. But yeah, it's not too bad if you've just started and you feel like it's kind of daunting. You know, when you get set up and tear down, it just know it does get better. There's a lot of checklists out there. I think if you look at the earlier videos, I've provided a few. I can post a link or somehow get it on YouTube to, maybe I'll just post it here on the video if I can dig it up. Don't hold me to it, but just like a checklist for at least setup. But there's a ton of them out there if you look around. The setup and tear down, and not only that does it kind of help you organize that part, but it helps you from a safety standpoint. Knowing, you know, things like chalking the tires, hooking up the RV or to the truck, you know, there's a series of steps you just absolutely have to follow from a safety standpoint. Now, most people get them memorized, and honestly, now we just kind of go through them and we know what to do, but really we should be referring back to them every time, just to make sure we don't miss a step. But when you're starting off, you should really follow. We kept it in the truck, a little guide right in the door. We knew where it was. If just making sure, especially at first, you don't miss a step, because it's, especially with towing, everybody tows. Usually everybody tows. You know, either you're towing a fifth wheel travel trailer, or maybe you're towing a car behind your Class A motorhome. Whatever it may be, there's a lot of different setups up there, and there's a lot of different safety checklists that you can follow, and I recommend that. I know one time starting off, and I think I talked about one of the earlier videos. I usually don't make these unless I do have something, you know, kind of to talk about, but it's ending up being at least monthly, just to kind of stay in touch with everybody. I do like making these videos, but sometimes, honestly, I feel like I'm rambling on. So, please bear with me, especially if you last to the end of these. I really appreciate it. But more than anything, yeah, when we first picked up our RV, our fifth wheel, ours requires a special plate for towing on the Goes right where the pin is on the fifth wheel, and I knew that when they went through it when we first picked it up. Had to go back in the shop for maintenance. Long story short, we forgot about the plate when we went to hook it back up after they fixed some stuff from when we initially bought it. That's why it was in. And anyhow, so basically forgot about the plate, and my wife actually noticed once we did hook up that something was wrong. It didn't look right. And what it was is that the turntable was basically it wasn't turning right, you know. Anyhow, so I went and found somebody on the lot there, one of the mechanics, and they came over. They said, "Oh yeah, you're missing something here." And they looked around, and someone had thrown it, you know, thankfully had thrown it in our RV. We didn't even know that, in one of the storage boxes, so it probably fell off, and it was in the storage box. And you know, we fished it out of there, hooked it up, and we were fine. But that could have been, I mean, we talked about it later, that could have been really bad. It could have been, you know, I don't even want to think about it, just could have caused something, you know, very major going down the road. So, you know, grace of God, grace of the mechanic there, and them, they were doing their thing. They didn't want to lay on the ground and get stolen or whatever. And it just, the reason I bring up the story is maybe someone can learn from it, or maybe someone can have ideas about how to handle those situations better. But that's how fast something can happen if you're really not paying attention. Especially, you know, if you're by yourself, you know, you really gotta pay attention when you first buy your RV, you know, and just know kind of everything you're getting into. Make sure you know the setup in and out before you go down the road. I can't stress that more than just, you know, saying it here. And you know, maybe someone has a better idea how to go about that. Videotaping it is something I did when we did the walkthrough. When we bought it, just like you do with a house, they walk you through the RV. They didn't like it when I videotaped it. They kind of complained, but they allowed it. And it's been a few months now, but I still refer to that video just like, oh, how did this and such, you know, how does this work? You know, maybe it's like turning on the gas, you know, for the water heaters. That's one of the main things. Ours has electric and gas, but or turning on the fridge. That's where I've referred to it a few times, and so it's helpful for that. You can go back to that part in the video and watch it, and you know exactly what to do. And it's your RV, and you could probably, now I think about it, you could take that video if you sold it and give it to someone else. Just be like, hey, you know, by the way, included with the sale of this, or if you're buying one, I mean, wouldn't it be awesome if you had a video walkthrough from not the manufacturer, but the seller, at least the seller, the dealer, you know, a professional who's trained how to do the walkthrough. Our guy was great. He was a prior military guy, gunny, and, you know, Marine Corps. He was great, and he was very thorough and appreciative. He didn't like us filming it, but he still did it. He got it. But I recommend, if you do have that video, refer back to it, use it moving forward. And you can videotape other stuff too. You know, maybe you tweak a few things, maybe you get new parts on there, and maybe your safety checklist has now changed. You could then use that video, you know, of that new part you've added to your RV or your truck or whatever, and refer back to it, especially if it's kind of a complicated thing that you've added in. You know, either that or, you know, write it down. That's just as good, I'm sure. Some people are all about having the booklets and the guides and everything else, but this day and age with video, it's so much easier just to turn on your phone and, you got it. So anyway, that's enough of that. So yeah, everything, it was really a great trip. We stayed, initially I was saying in the video, I did correct it on the video. We started off, we were going to stay 10, then we grabbed a couple more days. It wasn't at the weekly rate, but it ended up being 12 days. So 10 at the weekly, 7 at the weekly, and then a few more days at the standard rate. And it was great being there, out there that long. That's the point I was trying to make. Up and above, just being away. And at the end, yes, we did send the dogs back home. We actually took them back home, just knowing we had to pull out, and we had the awning issue we were dealing with. It was actually bungeed because we couldn't roll it back up, and that's another issue. I don't know if anyone's ever thought about that, or there is YouTube videos where I've seen people going down the road and they start losing their awning. The one I saw, luckily some people helped this lady, and they basically took it off her, I think it was like a Class A or something, and took it off and helped her just put it inside her RV. But the awnings are, once they are broken and hanging off, sounds horrible. It can happen. You got a real situation. I talked to someone out there, I think it was a mechanic, and he said some people have actually gone so far and they've had to chainsaw their awning off. And that's horrible if you have to go that route. Luckily we didn't. We had a good shop, finally came out. You know, we had it bungee down from the wind. It was stressful. They came out and they unbolted it, they rolled it up, hauled it away for us, and we didn't have to chainsaw our awning off. Just pretty bad. But I mean, if it's hanging off there, you can't go down the road safely. You know, I guess you could bungee it up. You could bungee it and get it up there, but you're not going to be going too fast down the road, and it's definitely unsafe. So that's probably another video just in its own, just awning safety. Now, did we leave it out? The wind blew, it started raining, and that was our fault, maybe. We feel like there was a weak joint on the pin rod, I think it's called, that goes into the arm, and that's where it actually sheared off. I mean, it should be able to stand some wind, and these winds were maybe 10 miles an hour at the most. So, our fault, maybe. Anyhow, just something to think about with the awnings. And I've already told my wife, I said, maybe, you know, if it gets a little bit of wind, we just need to be a little more cautious how much we leave it out. And just know, you know, if you have some weather in the area, if it does get stuck down and out, you're just gonna have a hard time with it. You're gonna be basically stuck where you're at until you can deal with it. And then I never really thought of it. Yeah, I saw some videos beforehand, and you kind of put it in the back of your mind. But it's something to think about. If you're out there and your awning gets stuck out, it's going to be a situation. So just food for thought. I like touching bases on some of the issues we have. You know, we can all learn together. There's so much to learn. That's what's interesting about it. It's a great hobby, really. End of the day, you've got a love for camping, which I always had. We used to go camping when I was little, as much as we could, and it's nice to be going these longer stretches out there. And there's always something to deal with. The main thing is try not to stress out too bad, as long as everybody's okay. You know, that's the main thing, is safety first when you're out there camping. Don't stress out. Most things will work out in the end, especially this day and age. There's a lot of people, you know, that are either mobile RV repair, or you got shops out there that will, if you're not too far out in the middle of nowhere, they'll kind of come and help you. So, or maybe you can figure it out. Maybe you're handy with stuff and you carry, you know, everybody should carry a decent amount of tools with you, so you can at least handle some of the minor stuff. I was almost at a point where I was going to unbolt it from the RV. It was at that point. My brother was nearby, but they ended up having the RV shop come out and they handled it, which was, I'm really glad they did. Um, anyhow, that's our little story from our last camping trip. I really appreciate everybody that's, especially a new subscriber. Everybody's hung in there all these years already. And we'll get back at it soon. I'll keep these coming, even kind of in our downtime. Might even do a little bit from the cruise, just to show you guys some pictures from there and how amazing that area is. Going out of Seattle this time, and then up to Juneau and beyond. So Skagway, I think, is one of them too, and a couple more stops. And then Vancouver, I believe, on the way back through. So you guys have a good day and rest of the week, and we will talk to you next time.